Okay, I believe it is activated. We have activized the live stream. Hello, everyone. Hello, WWJD85. Hello, Rob Vegas. Hello, Comic Tropes and Matt and Joshua. Hi, everyone. How do you do? Welcome to Tuesday. I have confirmed it is Tuesday. I thought it was Monday for a large part of the day. Really messed me up, And you know what? You don't want to have two Mondays. One Monday is enough. But for a while, I thought it was still Monday. I've confirmed. I've checked the calendar. It is in fact Tuesday. Good evening, everyone. Nice to see you. Hello, McLeodirg and Cyclonus and Josiah and JoeFan84. If Mr. S is watching, hello, Mr. S. So, since the last time we talked, the Cobra Convergence calendar has gone up. Hey, look, check this out. It's Marianne, and she's waving. And you know where she is? She's right over here. Yeah, I'm messing with it. So she was up. We're at the couch. You see this? See this? I push buttons on her phone. Mr. S isn't watching right now. He said, "Well, that's okay. That's okay." In fact, since he's not here, I don't have to be clean. So this is going to be the dirtiest show I've ever done. Hello, Bart. I think I saw Bart up there. Hello, Bart. Hello. All right. Hi, everyone. What the heck am I doing? It's Cobra Convergence time. So, in this episode, I'm going to go over the calendar for Cobra Convergence. I have that over in this other tab. But first, I want to remind everyone. That it's Tuesday. I had to remind myself that it's Tuesday. So that means there's a new episode of Half the Battle with Timmer. This time he covered the Super 7 reaction figure of Raven, the animated character, the female Stratoviper. So that's a new review for Timmer. I always keep up with what Timmer is doing, and he does his new videos on Tuesdays. Oh yeah, Green Yeti is hello. It has been a minute. Hello, Green Yeti. How do you do? Good to see you. Welcome. Nice to see you back. Also, and maybe Green Yeti doesn't know this, because it's been a minute since you've been here. What's on Joe Mind is now doing Tuesday nights, so they will be on right after this show. There are links. I put links in the description. I remember to do that this time. I put links in the description of this video, so as soon as you're done with this, you can roll over and watch What's on Joe Mind. My hair is kind of sticking up. It's a bit of a mess. But anyway, hi everyone. And Curtis. Curtis says hi from Detroit. It's been a minute. Hello, Detroit from the United States. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, Stonegate Creations. We have much to talk about. And you know what I just noticed? And I didn't notice this before, but this shirt seems to have some writing on it. Look at this. What who might have done this? What vandal might have written on this shirt? I don't know. That's pretty wild. Comic Trope says, "What did you do without internet, board games, or board games?" Well, both. A lot has happened. Oh yeah, Gung Ho. Where did Gung Ho go? Oh, Gung Ho is somewhere. Oh yeah, right here. Now look here. I don't know that we can get to Gung Ho this time because we've got a lot to cover. If if we get through everything we need to do, then we can try to open Gung Ho if we have time. I know that's been waiting for a long time. We'll see. We'll see what we can do. Hello, Raymond. And Sparkster is here, and he's sorry that he's late, but I'm just glad you're here. So, what was I saying? What's on Joe Mind? Timmer. It's Tuesday. Cobra Convergence. A few days ago, what was it? I guess it would have been Saturday night. A really strong storm blew through my town, and wreaked havoc. And a large part of the town is still without electricity. As you can see, I have electricity, so that's covered. However, my internet was down for an unreasonable amount of time. But it did come up. It popped back up last night. Before it popped up, I was on the show Audible Interlude. I hope some of you were able to join me for that. But I had to go over to my parents' place and use their internet, which is not ideal. It's not ideal. But yeah, the storm, it wasn't, we didn't have tornadoes. It was just like straight line winds, very strong straight line winds. But for a 20-minute storm, we have days or potentially a week of outages. Because that's how we do it in our modern society. Hello, Cyclonus. Nice to see you. Wreaked havoc. Yes, it. What does the havoc smell like? It reeks. Let me tell you, the havoc. It reeks, and that's what it smells like too. Well, with a lot of power out, people's hot water tanks are not working, so people are not showering as much as they used to. So it kind of does reek. The storm has wreaked havoc. For a 20-minute storm, it's like the apocalypse happened here. And now we have gasoline shortages. I can't get gas in my car. There's hardly any gasoline in this town. Total apocalypse. 20-minute storm, and we have a total apocalypse. So I was supposed to have posted stuff about Cobra Convergence, but that was difficult with no regular internet service. Marianne says her hot water tank is gas. That's fantastic. My car needs gas. Can I use that? I don't know how things work. Thank you for the super chat. Comic Tropes, did you order a classified eel? I know you love them. Good question, and thank you for the super chat. Actually, that is on my list of things to talk about. So we did get some classified figure reveals. And they're so it's hit and miss. It's hit and miss. There was a desert uniform Snake Eyes, which was, I don't know, kind of plain, not too exciting. There was a tunnel rat, which looks good. Keeps very close to the design of version 1 tunnel rat. It really adds very little. But the design of version 1 tunnel rat is good, so they don't really have to add very much. So that looks nice. But they also gave us a Cobra eel in the classified scale. Now, the Cobra eel is my favorite army builder. I wouldn't say it's necessarily my favorite figure or even my favorite Cobra figure, but I really like the way the Cobra eel looks on a shelf in a group, or on the Cobra Moray when all the guns are manned by Cobra eels. I just think that looks really cool. And I like the gray and the red and the black. I just think it looks really nice. So I'm a fan of the Cobra eel. So yes, absolutely, I jumped right on. And well, first of all, on the Hasbro site, those sold out really quickly. So I went to Amazon and I ordered one immediately when it went available. And yeah, so I am definitely getting a Cobra Eel. I'm very eager to see what they have done with the Cobra Eel in that scale. Now, as with Torpedo, they seem to have kept very close to the version 1 design. In the case of the eels, that may not be a bad thing because the version 1 design had a lot of really nice elements that I think would translate to a larger scale. So we'll see. But yes, I jumped on that. Thank you, Comic Tropes, for the super chat. And absolutely I did. That was one that took us by surprise. That's not one that we expected, right? We kind of knew that the desert snake eyes was coming. We knew that the tunnel rat was coming. Nobody knew that the eel was coming, and yeah, I jumped right on that. There's another figure that that was announced, sort of. The next stretch goal for the HasLab Dragonfly has been announced, and it is Glenda. Glenda, an international character based on Scarlet. And Comic Tropes, again, is right on top of it. No, I did not expect Glenda. So let's talk about that. There are no peanuts in the drink. It's been a while since I've put peanuts in my Pepsi. I'll do that. You know what? I'll do that next time. I guarantee next time I will put peanuts in my Pepsi for this live show unless I forget. What did I expect Glenda? I did not expect Glenda. So we thought there's been a lot of discussion, right? There's going to be a lot of discussion. We thought that it might be airborne. So we're getting a Night Force ripcord, and we were thinking there are two other unlocked figures. We were thinking airborne and a new character based on the name that's on the canopy of the Dragonfly, which again I've forgotten. I know I can't trust my memory for. I should have the Dragonfly like sitting in front of me. But anyway, the Dragonfly canopy has the name of a character that does not match any known G.I. Joe character, and with the HasLab Sky Striker, well, right here, this one is right in front of me. With the HasLab Sky Striker, the original Sky Striker also had Wayne Ruthel on the canopy. Well, they gave us a new character for that name, so that's nice. I thought that was really cool, and we were kind of expecting them to do that with the HasLab Dragonfly. In fact, I kind of still expect them to do that with the HasLab Dragonfly, but I was really thinking that the other unlocked figure would be airborne. Instead, it's Glenda, and I think that is I think that's a really clever idea, right? Because for classified collectors who want to get, you know, the main characters, the main line, the important characters, the ones that are the most memorable, you don't want to make those so exclusive that that most people can't get them. So if you're going to have an exclusive figure that most collectors are not going to get, let's just be real, most collectors are not going to get the HasLab figures, then why not do it as something that's a little bit more obscure, something that's a little more specialized, something that the long-term fans, the long-term collectors would recognize and would be interested in, because really those are the ones who are more likely to jump on the HasLab project anyway. So I think that was a really clever idea. I think that makes a lot more sense than airborne. And I was actually talking with the guys on Audible Interlude last night about this. Since Glenda is the next unlock, it seems like maybe airborne will not be part of this set, because if that's the direction they're going, then Airborne may be too mainstream a character to just make a part of the HasLab project. Airborne may be mainstream enough a character that they want to do a regular retail release on it. So now I'm thinking maybe it's not Airborne. Now I'm thinking maybe the final unlock is the new character. But I suspect if we get the new character, I suspect it will be, it will have at least the body of someone else, someone that they may release in the future. Maybe they'll have the body, the body of Airborne with a different head or something like that. So yeah, I'm guessing that that's the direction they're going now. Airborne, too mainstream a character. They probably want to do a retail release with that figure. Bart says, give me an updraft. An updraft, that's a, speaking of which, like, I still have my Retaliator. By the way, okay, I don't want to review this right now because I want to review it when I review it, but so this is the Retaliator. Why couldn't this just be the Dragonfly Mark II? Why not just call it that? I mean, it looks even more like a Dragonfly than the first Dragonfly. You know, this looks like a Dragonfly Mark II, quite frankly. Even it has the orange rotor blade tips. Since you mentioned updraft, though, I got this at Joe Fest. Did not have the figure or the file card. I have since ordered the figure and the file card. I got a good price on them, got a good source for them. So now I will have the vehicle, box, figure, file card for less than what you would pay for just the vehicle in some places. So I feel like I got an excellent deal. I'm getting sidetracked. Updraft, though, is another fairly obscure character. I don't think most Joe fans would, like, right off the bat know who that is. Obviously, I do because I had to just order one. But the updraft figure looks really nice. It's a really good looking figure. But I really think it's going to be a new character. I really think it's going to be a new character with a body that they will apply to a more mainstream retail character at some point in the future. That's my guess. But I did have to give kudos to the Hasbro team for going with a figure like Glenda for a campaign like this. I really think that's the right move. If it's too mainstream a character, then the collectors that want that mainstream character are not going to be able to get their hands on it. So if it's a mainstream character, you want collectors to be able to get it, even if they don't want to back the HasLab. So I think that makes sense. I really do. Also, a side note. Glenda has the same body as Scarlet, right? And based on the digital renders that we've seen, the Glenda figure appears to have a classic Scarlet body, which means that mold in the future ought to be used for a retro style Scarlet, and that is something that I know that a lot of fans have been wanting. Now, we did get a Scarlet in, actually we've gotten two Scarlets in the vintage, in the classified line. We got the Scarlet that was in the first wave. It was kind of updated, had an updated uniform, updated details. And then we got the Scarlet from the Snake Eyes movie. Neither of those had the version 1 Scarlet look that most people are familiar with. But with Glenda, you should in the future get a Scarlet figure. Joe Fan says, I thought Glenda and Scarlet were allies. It depends. I don't want to dive too deep into the Glenda lore, but I know that there was like a post-vintage or modern file card that had the Glenda uniform, but the Scarlet code name. In fact, they really should be considered different characters. Yeah, I think it's a fun idea. I think it's a fun idea. Yeah, see. Hello, Christian Bricks. Nice to see you. Thank you for being here. He says they also changed classified Scarlet's hair color. Yeah, the class, and I did like the classified Scarlet, the Wave 1 classified Scarlet. I did like that figure. I liked the updated uniform. But I know that there is a clamor, a groundswell, a grassroots movement to get figures in their classic looks. With Glenda, we should get a Scarlet. So that's an extra bonus that we should look forward to. But again, my guess, and I have no insider information whatsoever, my guess is that the final unlock will be a new character. It will be a new character that has a body of a more familiar character that they will use in the future. That's my guess. And hey, you know what? I think we learned from the Dragonfly HasLab rumors that you should believe all rumors. They turn out to be true. So I think that's the lesson learned. Believe all rumors. So any rumor that you've probably heard is probably true. So I don't want to spend I don't want to spend too much time talking about modern stuff and classified stuff and HasLab stuff, but I want to make sure to cover that because it's news. It's in the news. There was also a G.I. Joe shirt, like a button-up shirt by what's that company? I forget who was doing it. I think it looks really nice. A G.I. Joe print button-up shirt. I think it's nice that they're giving us some formal wear. It's nice, and thank you for the super chat. It's nice that they're giving us some formal wear, so I'll have something to wear to weddings and funerals and such. Comic tropes. G.I. Joe comics news. Okay, let's get to that. That's the yes. Whoops, that's the company. Thank you. We talked a bit about the G.I. Joe comics news last time. There's been some more developments. The Larry Hama series will continue with issue number 301. I think that's a big relief to all of us. That's important. I think, honestly, I think whether you read the series or not, Larry Hama has been so associated with G.I. Joe that I think most of us would want him to be able to continue the series. If anybody has earned the right to continue as long as he wants to, I would say that's Larry. So that's good news. Larry's going to get to continue. Also, my understanding is that there's supposed to be a special edition of G.I. Joe number 1 that's going to be based on the original script that I guess was altered for the original release. So we will get to see G.I. Joe number 1 in the form that it was originally written. And I think that's very interesting. For historical purposes, I think it's kind of cool to have those to have those other perspectives, these things that you might not have known about or may not have seen the light of day if not for projects like this. Again, with comic tropes, see, comic tropes is the actual expert. Like, comic tropes is the comic book expert. I am the nothing expert. I am an expert on nothing. But thankfully, we have comic tropes in here. Expert in comic books says Hama's book will have Chris Mooneyham and art and covers by Andy Kubert. And that's also really cool. Andy Kubert art. Andy Kubert covers. I know that I believe he's done some in the past, like in the Marvel series, some fairly well-known covers. So it's nice to see him picking that up. And it's nice I like Andy Kubert's art anyway, so I'm glad they were able to get somebody like him to do the covers. So G.I. Joe #1 without the Comics Code influence. Yeah, the Comics Code isn't what it used to be. The Comics Code is it had a lot of influence at the time. Well, a lot changed. I'm not a comic book expert. I don't want to dive too much into that, but the Comics Code was once very important. Matt Noon says he just subscribed to Comic Tropes. You know what? That's fantastic. Chris has been my friend for a long time. Chris, the host of Comic Tropes, excellent show. Had a great episode about a Marvel comic based on a pop star, sort of. It's a great episode and really funny and a lot of fun. So make sure you check out Comic Tropes, and thank you for letting people know that that you're subscribing to Comic Tropes when you're on this stream, because that I'll make sure to get my kickback. Chris, there's another one. Make sure you send me my kickback. Checks in the mail, I'm sure. Anyway, boop. There will be again, Chris. There will be a 4-issue miniseries for G.I. Joe in the Energon universe and a secret miniseries that might be a crossover. Joshua Williamson writing, Tom Riley and Andrea Milana on art. They have announced. I mean, we know that there's going to be a Duke miniseries. There's going to be a Cobra Commander miniseries, and right now they have the Void Rivals series out. I honestly have no idea if this is going to. Yes, I'm noir. I'm noir tonight. I should have a fedora. I should have a fedora, cigarette. I don't know if I'm going to like it. I really don't. In general, I don't typically go for G.I. Joe and Transformer crossovers. I don't think they cross over very well. I don't think they're a natural match for each other. Having said that, good writing can overcome a lot, right? Good writing can overcome even a bad premise. You could have a mediocre premise with some excellent writing, and it can turn out great. So for that reason, I really have to give it a shot, and I will give it a shot. And again, I was mentioning on Audible Interlude that regardless of whether I want it or not, regardless of whether I like it or not, I want it to succeed. I want G.I. Joe to have as many successes as possible. The more it succeeds, the more they will give us. Right, the more different kinds of G.I. Joe they will give us. People have been saying, "Hey, we want, we want cartoons, we want a TV show, we want all this." Well, in order for any of that to be possible, we've got to succeed, right? We've got to have some hits. We've got to demonstrate that this brand in the media can be successful. So I'm for it. I want it to be successful. I want it to make a splash. I want it to get people talking again. So I really hope that it succeeds. As for whether I will like it, I really don't know. It's definitely not in my wheelhouse, but I will give it a shot. I will give it a try, and hopefully it'll turn out better than I'm expecting. Let's see. So what non-Transformers comic crossovers do you want to see? I would like to see a G.I. Joe crossover with Rainbow Bright and the Smurfs and the Snorks. Anybody remember the Snorks? The little creatures with the little things on their head. They lived underwater. Oh, if you got the Snorks, you can do a crossover with SpongeBob SquarePants too. Hasbro, give me a call. I'm not giving you this one for free. We got Rainbow Bright the Smurfs, the Snorks, SpongeBob SquarePants crossover with G.I. Joe. This one's not for free. You guys got to call me. You got to pay for that one. Just send me a check for that one. We'll negotiate it. This is brilliant. Keldon, I remember the Snorks. Also, stop. Okay, fair. Oh wow. Hey, you know what? Michael Bell did a voice in the Snorks, didn't he? Anyway, I'm sorry. We're getting a little far afield. And the show's almost halfway over, and we have not talked about Cobra Convergence, which is the main reason we're doing the show today. I want to do a Cobra Convergence preview. So I could not figure out a way to share this list on your screen. So I'm going to go over it with you. The calendar is up on HCC788.com right now. It's on the main page. So let's go over this. Let's see who's in. So on July 1st, we have Sergeant Slaughter's Slaughterhouse, again, starting the event like they did last year. Always excited to see that. Zazel, who runs that channel, I got to meet him in Augusta at Joe Fest. That was a blast. Great to meet Zazel. He's from Australia, so he came here all the way from Australia. I believe he's on his way back now to, Europe or wherever he's from. I don't know geography. I assume Australia is near Europe or something like that. I'm sorry. I'm a product of the Oklahoma education system. Then we have Woodman 29 and this weirdo here, HCC788, and then Sparkster, who I believe is in here. And always nice to see Sparkster. I'm sure you are familiar with Sparkster from this live chat. We've got It's Chad, another guy that I met at Joe Fest. I actually met him at Joe Fest last year, but I saw him again at Joe Fest this year. What's on Joe Mind, the show that is going to follow this one, the show that you should go and check out as soon as this show is over. What's on Joe Mind? What's on Joe Mind probably is the most important G.I. Joe show, the longest running G.I. Joe fan podcast, and really great guys. They've done immeasurable things for the community, so do check out What's on Joe Mind. Cobra Island, another longtime participant in Cobra Convergence. A Toy Kind of Mood, Talking Joe, Go Figure, Real American Brian. Real American Brian, that's I like that name. It's a good name. That could apply to me. Snuva's Corner Cafe, the Full Force podcast, they're old friends as well. The Skull Reviews, that dude does a lot of like 12-inch G.I. Joe, really cool. Joe Motion Videos 82, Byron, our friend Byron, also our friend Cujo, originally from G.I. Joeberg. Cujo also I have met a couple of times in person. Half the Battle with Timmer, somebody that I have not met in person, but is one of my oldest friends on this platform. And a side note, timeout, a side note about Half the Battle. During the year that I took off, right, I was out of this for a year, and I missed the Cobra Convergence. So there's a gap between Cobra Convergence 5 and 6. In that gap year, Half the Battle did a Cobra month. In that gap year, I really should have counted that as a Cobra Convergence and started, restarted the numbering with Cobra Convergence 7 instead of 6. So this year's ought to be Cobra Convergence 8. It's too late to change it now, but what that means is Timmer is the only person who has been in every single one, every single year without fail. So honestly, this event is as much his as it is anyone's. So thank you for being a part of it again, Timmer. And Peg Warmers, another person that I've met in person a couple of times, Kevin from Peg Warmers, just one of the nicest people that you will ever meet. Also, Jay Bartlett, he is Canadian. So will we forgive him for that? I'm kidding. Jay, I'm kidding. We love Canadians here. In fact, we like Canadians probably more than a lot of our own neighbors. I've yet to meet a Canadian that I didn't like, in fact. So Jay Bartlett, it's great to have Jay Bartlett back. Chaplain's Assistance Motor Pod, a podcast, a really clever name, Chaplain's Assistance Motor Pod. They're first timers, or he's a first timer. Again, someone that I met in Augusta at Joe Fest. I believe he gave me a shirt for Chaplain's Assistance Motor Pod, and I believe I've misplaced it, which I feel terrible about. If there's a way for me to order a replacement, I will purchase for myself a replacement. I feel bad, but I can't find the shirt anywhere. Toy Connections, another person that I met at Joe Fest, Ken from Toy Connections, another Canadian. You know, we are being invaded by the North, but honestly, that's probably a good thing. So Toy Connections, it was great to see Ken. JLS Comics, another comics expert. And that show is a lot of fun, very informative. Action Robot Punch and Audible Interlude. I was just on Audible Interlude yesterday, but I also I went to the Audible Interlude panel at Joe Fest. And they allowed me to come up and talk about Cobra Convergence for a little while. So thank you guys. Order of Battle, our good friend Jay Latroll, who is a guy that collects Pocket Patrol packs. You know, we all have our things. But Order of Battle, Yorktown Joe, Joe on Joe podcast. You remember when Joe on Joe podcast did, let's see, they did a Behind the Music with about Cold Slither. It's like the VH1 documentary, like a VH1 Behind the Music documentary of Cold Slither. And then last year they did a Columbo G.I. Joe crossover. It was very clever. My Side of the Laundry Room, longtime Cobra Convergence participant. Love having that guy back. Rob Vegas, last year he did a Cobra Convergence episode every day in July. That was amazing. And when we had somebody drop out, Rob, he came in, he took over, he helped us out. You see what is happening here? You see what is happening? Stop it. Stop. Just stop it. Move. I don't want the butt end in my face. I don't want the tail end in my face. Wow. My apologies, Rob. I was just extolling the virtues of Rob Vegas, and the cat just comes right through here, puts his tail in my face. Now he's just laying there like nothing happened. But anyway, thank you, Rob. There's Sergeant Slaughterhouse. I hope he's back home in Europe or wherever he's from. I don't know geography. I do. I'm kidding. I'm dumb. But anyway, I hope Sergeant Slaughterhouse made it home. Made it home safely. The Photo Viper toy photography. We've had toy photography a number of times, and I think it's amazing what these guys can do with with a camera and with toys, and how they make it amazingly realistic and action-packed. G.I. Joeberg always goes over to the top. G.I. Joeberg always does something incredible. From the so my four Cobra videos count this year. Of course they will count. They will always count. Everybody counts. Yes, he's a rude. I agree, Joni. He's very rude. I'm not even going to tell you what he did yesterday. He did something yesterday. I'm not even going to tell you. It was rude, though. I'll say that. It was rude. So Joeberg, Radface 44 reviews. That's a new one. Thank you for being in it, Radface 44 reviews. I believe we saw Radface 44 in the chat earlier. I don't see him now, but thank you. And you should be, that's another one you should be familiar with from the live chat. We see him often. I'm so glad to have him in. We've got Island of Misfit Toy Collectors. Did an interview with that guy. Treasures for Trigger. He participated in the promotional videos last year, so now he's somebody that we're bringing in to be in on the calendar this year. Anything Joe's, another veteran. Thank you so much. Toy Domination, that's a new one. Did an interview with those guys. Codename New to Vero 2, one of our oldest friends and a Cobra Convergence veteran, articulated points. These guys are the true historians of G.I. Joe. Podcast from the Pit, who, again, I met at Joe Fest. I met them at Joe Fest last year, ran into them again this year. Great guys, Podcast from the Pit. Make sure you check out their show. And Agent Chuckles, another new one. And that, Agent Chuckles, that's perfect for the theme this year. The theme this year being spies, infiltrators, and double agents. Spies, infiltrators, and double agents. That can be interpreted very broadly. Very broadly. But I wanted to take a minute to, first of all, remind everybody the calendar is at HCC788.com. It's right on the front page. It has it has every day of July, and it has the person who's going to be sometimes more than one person who are presenting on each day, and there are links to each of those people's channel, podcast, blog, whatever they do. There's a link to it. Oh, I missed Go Figure. I'm looking here. I don't know if I said Go Figure. I'm sorry, Go Figure, if I didn't say it, but go. I don't want to miss anyone because every single one of these people are important, and that's why I'm bringing this up, and that's why I'm going through the calendar, because I would like for you to look at the calendar, to click on each one of those links, to subscribe or follow, depending on what platform they are on, so that, first of all, so that you don't miss their Cobra Convergence presentation, but also so that you don't miss their other stuff. These are, every single one of them is a fan that is doing something and creating something special, something related to G.I. Joe, and they're doing it out of a passion and love. They're doing it because they love it. So that's the kind of people I like to follow, and I hope that you will like to follow them too. So if you are wondering if there are any good G.I. Joe creators, any good G.I. Joe content out there, that is a pretty darn good list of people who are out there doing the work. And Rachel, wait, there. Sorry. Wow, it's getting away from me. There we go. Rachel Salinas says, Lord Hoodie, will you grace us with your presence at DFW Joe show this weekend? I am expected to. In fact, I've pretty much committed to doing it. The only hitch, all right, is that I'm going, my plan is to drive to Dallas. It's just a one-day show, so I'll drive to Dallas, drive back. There's no gasoline in this town. My car, it's a gasoline-powered car. It requires gasoline to go. So long as I can get gasoline by Saturday morning, the plan is to head out there, because I would really like to see Ron. Ron Rudat will be there. Pixel Dan will be there. And those are both people I would like to see. So that's my expectation, is to make it to the DFW show on Saturday. Joshua said, last year I watched every CC6 entry unless it required a social media account. Yeah, there's and thank you, Joshua. Thank you for following, and thank you for watching all of them. That's that's what we're doing. We're trying. We want you to get to know these people. Now, of course, you may not latch on to every single creator, but there are so many of them, and there's such a wide variety of them, that there will be somebody there that you latch onto, you think they're great, and you want to follow them, right? So this is the opportunity to explore, to learn what's happening in the G.I. Joe community, to learn what's happening, out there on the internet, what kind of creative stuff is going on. And hey, Firefly says, hey, HCC, I'll be there this weekend. Look forward to seeing you. I look forward to seeing you too. That would be totally awesome. Again, the only caveat, there's no gasoline in this town because of the storm. We had a 20-minute storm, and it's been the apocalypse since then. So as long as I can get gasoline in my vehicle, I will. I should be there. The plan is to be there in Dallas or the Dallas area on Saturday. Hebrew says, where is the next Joe Con? If you're referring to like the official G.I. Joe Con, they don't really do the official Joe Con anymore. What most of us are talking about is Joe Fest, but there are regional shows. In fact, Assembly Required in Des Moines, Iowa, announced their dates. They always do it in November, and it looks like it'll be November 3rd and 4th. I'm going to do my best to make it to Des Moines, Iowa for Assembly Required. I love that show. In fact, I had such a great time at Joe Fest that, like, I immediately start thinking, what's the next show I can go to? I want to go to the next show. Well, the next show I'm going to is actually this Saturday, the DFW G.I. Joe show. And I want to say Grapevine. Anyway, it's this Saturday. It's a one-day show. So I'm not super far from Dallas. So my plan is to just scoot down to Dallas, do the show, hang out, see what's what, and then head back home. So, but yeah, a lot of folks have already done their Joe Fest retrospective. I did one last week. Audible Interlude did one. It's Chad did one. Lots of people have done their retrospective. The folks that were at Joe Fest, and it really was special. That was a special show. I haven't found anyone who hasn't had didn't have a fantastic time. I had a great time. I saw Bart there. Speaking of having a great time, saw Bart, had a cigar with Bart out on the by the amphitheater. His was apparently better than mine. I couldn't even finish mine. It was nasty. But it was nice to see Bart. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. And when I got home, I was like, when can I go to the next one? I want to go to another one. In fact, if I could just not work and just go from one show to another, I think that would be fine. I could live that lifestyle, going from one show to another. It's that much fun. And plus, I love to travel. But, that's not how the adult world works. So, I'll go to as many as I can. The expectation is that I will make it to Dallas, and I'm going to do my sincere best to make it to Des Moines. I've been to 2 Assembly Required shows in Des Moines. Really enjoy both of them. Lots of fun. Bart says, HoodieCon 2024. Absolutely. HoodieCon 2024. I have no idea when or what we will do, but HoodieCon 20. Oh, thank you, Joshua, for the super chat. Shout out to Mary Ann for her footage. Thank you. Thank you, Josiah, and thank you, Mary Ann. I did put up the Joe Fest video. Mary Ann got a lot of that video, a lot of it. And I absolutely could not have done it without her. So I have thanked her. I've thanked her more than once. I will thank her again because she is the main reason that video exists. So absolutely. And thank you, Josiah. And thank you to Marianne. She had a blast. Is she? Hey, are you still in here?
Yeah.
She's still in there. Well, she's still in the studio audience. She has said on multiple occasions that she had a really good time. Now, assuming that she's telling the truth, then our hope is that she will be back next year. In fact, I think she has to be back next year because her and Jason have a contract, an agreement to participate in karaoke. In fact, there's a specific thing. I don't think I'm allowed to say what it is, but there's not yet. But there's. Yeah, she's listening to me IRL. She's listening to me the old-fashioned way through like sound waves through the air. But her internet service isn't very good, so she can't actually type in the live chat. But yes, the expectation is that she should be back next year, and that she's supposed to do a duet with one of your other G.I. Joe fan creators, one of your other G.I. Joe Cobra Convergence participants, which I absolutely will record every second of it. And you better believe that's going up on the internet. Absolutely it will. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Her service is spotty, as she said there. Hans Chow, Hans Chow was great. Also, Ritz Murphy apparently did good. I missed that. I missed it. There was a lot going on. I missed it, but that's what we were told, is that Hans and Ritz absolutely killed karaoke. We're talking about two very talented people, so talented it's basically unfair. It's Diana. Hello, Diana Davis. Diana Davis says, sorry, I'm late. I was talking to my mom. I was talking to your mom too. I don't know why I said that. I apologize. That was uncalled for. Hi, Diana. Nice to see you. Thank you for being here. I wanted to say, since we've got a few more minutes here, we've gone over Cobra Convergence. Okay, before I do this, I do want to say one more thing about Cobra Convergence. If you are not on the calendar, but you still want to participate, there is a link at HCC788.com. Say it right, HCC788.com, with instructions of how you can participate. Even if you're not on the calendar, I want everyone to do something. If you're within the sound of my voice, I would like for you to do something for Cobra Convergence 7. And I will be doing a promotional video every week, just like I did last year, where I will get clips and images of your thing, and I will put it out there so that everyone can see it. Also, if you'll tag me, then I'll share it. You know, I want as many people as possible to participate, and I want as many people as possible to see what you do when you participate. So I wanted to make sure that I covered that, because we've got a full calendar. We've got a full calendar of folks doing Cobra stuff this year, but it needs to be everybody. I would like everyone who is a fan of G.I. Joe, anyone who's ever heard of Cobra, anyone who's ever had one of the toys in their hands, read a comic book, seen a TV show, anyone who has anything and any desire to do something for Cobra Convergence, I would like for you to do it. This is supposed to be an event for all of us, or at least as many of us as want to participate. So please consider that. Please consider, if you have any creative anything. I don't know, if you write, if you make videos, if you draw, I don't know, if you create something, then please consider participating in Cobra Convergence. There's a list of instructions. Link is at HCC788.com. So please please participate if you can. This is it means a lot to me. It really does mean a lot to me when I see a lot of folks getting into Cobra Convergence, doing their own thing, kind of spreading the word, but also being creative themselves. I love that. I will never get tired of that. I love that. That's one of the reasons I love doing it. So please consider jumping in and doing something for Cobra Convergence, and make sure you let me know about it so that I can share it and include it in the weekly promotional video. Now that I'm short on time, WWJD says, even if it's Deke G.I. Joe, yeah, absolutely. Give us the Deke. You know, I'm not going to Deke block you. You know, you can do Deke if you want to. You can do big Deke or little Deke, as many Deke as you want. You know what? As many Dekes as you want, you go and do it, all right? And Mr. S is not watching, so I can do those double entendres tonight. I can do blue. Cobra blue. So, Comatrope says, Hoodie, the Snow Serpent and Grunt League on sale tomorrow. Will you get Grunt? I probably will get Grunt. I really like that they are doing the 82 characters in classified. I started in 1982. I know a lot of those 1982 figure designs were rather plain by the standards that we later got, but I'm still very partial to them. So I'm really glad they're doing Grunt. I'm glad they did Breaker. I'm glad they did Rock and Roll. I mean, obviously they were going to do Scarlet and Snake Eyes because they're so popular, but also, you know, Stalker. So yeah, anytime they do an 82 character, I will probably get it. I've got a lot of nostalgia for those 82 guys. So now I've got to wrap up. I can't go long, right? Because What's on Joe Mind is going to start right after this. I did see that. Grunt looks like he's going to come with a Steel Brigade. Not exactly Steel Brigade, because somebody else has the Steel Brigade trademark now. But generally speaking, the Steel Brigade look helmet to Army build, which is an intriguing idea. Intriguing. Bart said he would do Scarlet too. I won't tell anyone. In fact, I don't think you have to worry about that getting out because nobody's watching this anyway. I'm sure this is basically a private forum, so nobody will tell no one. I wanted to say, I want to spend the last few minutes talking about Marianne, my significant other, my girlfriend, who I think is absolutely fantastic. She was great at Joe Fest. She participated. She had lots of energy. She has a great personality anyway. She has a great sense of humor. She got along with everyone. And just from, my private experiences with her, she's a delightful person. She is a very delightful person. And I consider myself very lucky to be with such a delightful person. And we are coming up on 8 months of dating, an 8-month relationship so far, which some of you folks who've been married for years or whatever, that may not seem like 8 months, but consider this, like those 8 months have both flown by and felt like they've taken a long time because we've done so much, right? We have done a lot in those 8 months, including this huge trip to Georgia that we did together. And despite spending every minute with each other for 6 days, we still want to see each other. There's no fighting, no bickering. We still really enjoy each other's company. And so to Marianne, who is watching in real life and listening through the sound waves going through the room, thank you, and thanks for being awesome. And thank you to everyone who met us at Joe Fest for also being really kind, because I really wanted Marianne, to see that side of the community. I knew that we have a lot of people in the community who are just really great folks, very positive, very friendly, and you guys showed that. You did it. You did it. So thank you. So thank you to everyone who helped make Marianne's experience a good one. But thank you to Marianne for making my experience a good one. So with that, I have to sign off because I cannot go long. What's on Joe Mind is right after this. I will turn it over to the What's on Joe Mind. Their live show will be starting in just a few minutes. Cobra Convergence 7 starting in July, running all through July. We have a full calendar of presenters. It is at HCC788.com. Also at that same website, there is a link with instructions. If you want to participate, even if you're not on the calendar, you can still participate, and I strongly encourage you to do so. So please check that out. Thank you to everyone who is participating in Cobra Convergence. Thank you to everyone who watches and follows Cobra Convergence. You make this special. So thank you very much. And with that, I will say good night, everyone. See you all next week. See you on What's on Joe Mind rolling over. I'm not going to be on there, but you should be watching it. So I'll see you there watching it. But catch What's on Joe Mind next, and I will see you all later. I need to stop mumbling and just say good night. Good night. Say good night, Gracie. Good night. Bye. See ya.